If you're running an audit or accounting firm in the US, you know the feeling. The deadlines are tighter, the workloads are getting heavier, and honestly, staffing feels like a total guessing game these days. There's a huge shift happening in the profession, and for a growing number of firms, the answer is popping up halfway across the world. So let's dive into what's behind this strategic move.
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you possibly scale your services and grow the firm when your team is already stretched to the absolute limit? It feels like an impossible puzzle. And look, this isn't just a feeling you're having. It's the new reality for just about every modern firm out there. There's this squeeze coming from all sides, and it's making that question of growth more and more urgent every single day.
Does this list look a little too familiar? Yeah, I thought so. It's gotten so much harder to find experienced people, and when you finally do, the cost of local talent is sky high. That leads to higher turnover and, of course, that infamous busy season burnout that we all know and love. All this is happening while your clients' needs are getting even more complex. It's a totally unsustainable cycle.
And that is precisely why so many U.S. firms are now looking to India. We're not talking about some temporary Band-Aid here. This is a real, fundamental strategic shift designed to build long-term capacity and make firms more resilient. Let's break down the 4 key advantages that are really driving this whole thing.
First up, and this one is a biggie, there's no steep learning curve. The professionals in India are highly trained in all the core US frameworks you rely on: GAAP for reporting, JAS for auditing, and PCAOB standards. They already know the rules so they can hit the ground running from day one. That makes coordination incredibly smooth. Second is the time zone difference, which, and you gotta hear me on this, is a massive strategic advantage. Don't think of it as a barrier, it's a tool. It lets you create this continuous 24-hour workflow, so projects are always moving forward, even while your US team is asleep.
Third, let's be really clear about this. The strategic goal isn't just about finding cheap work. The real value is in moving those time-heavy, lower-complexity tasks offshore. Why? Because it frees up your senior staff here in the US to focus on the high-value stuff. Client relationships, strategic planning, and those final critical reviews.
And finally, India has this mature, well-established infrastructure for financial services outsourcing. You're not some kind of experiment. You're basically plugging into a reliable, well-oiled machine and getting a dependable, professional extension of your own team.
This slide right here illustrates that time zone advantage perfectly. Look at this. Instead of work just grinding to a halt at 5 p.m., it gets handed off. Your team in India picks it up and moves it forward overnight. So by the time you're logging on with your morning coffee, key deliverables are already waiting in your inbox. It's an absolute game changer for productivity. Okay, so what kind of work are we actually talking about sending offshore? Let's get practical and break down the exact types of tasks that firms are successfully moving.
This table makes it really concrete. See the tasks listed here? Substantive testing, daily bookkeeping, preparing NAV packages. These are the essential but often super repetitive and time-consuming processes. They're the kind of thing that can be standardized and executed efficiently offshore, which frees up your US team for that deeper, more complex analysis.
Now, of course, choosing the right partner is absolutely everything. A successful offshore relationship isn't just luck, it's built on a proven playbook. So to see what that looks like in the real world, let's use the model of a firm like KMK Associates as an example of how this can be done right.
A seamless partnership really rests on these 4 pillars. First, the offshore team adapts to your tools and your templates, not the other way around. Second, a multi-level review process makes sure the work is double and triple checked for accuracy before it even lands on your desk. Third, you get a dedicated, consistent team that really gets to know your firm's specific needs. And finally, ironclad security protocols to protect your client data, non-negotiable.
And what's the result of a structured model like that? Well, you're essentially trading chaos for clarity. Instead of unpredictable workflows, you get standardized delivery. Instead of just hoping for the best, you get predictable turnaround times and total transparency. It's a system that's literally designed to bring order to the most complex parts of your operation.
All right, let's switch gears and do a little rapid-fire Q&A. I want to tackle the most common questions and concerns that firms have when they're thinking about making this kind of strategic shift. And this is always the first question, and for very good reason. We're talking about sensitive client information here. So is it really secure?
The answer is a definite yes. if you partner with a firm that makes security its top priority. As the quote here says, the keys are controlled access and encryption. You want to look for partners who have certifications like ISO 27001 or SOC 2 compliance. Those are really the gold standards for protecting data.
Okay, next big concern, quality. Can you really trust that the work is going to meet the incredibly high standards required here in the US?
Absolutely. As the slide confirms, training in US standards is the foundation of this whole model. These aren't people learning on the job, it's about tapping into a deep talent pool of professionals who have built their entire careers around these exact requirements. Many even hold certifications that are equivalent to a US CPA.
So you might be thinking, okay, this sounds great, but is this just a solution for the big guys? Can smaller firms actually benefit from this too? You know, it's funny, small firms often see the most immediate benefits. As the slide points out, it gives them instant capacity and specialized expertise without the huge cost and time sink of direct hiring. The return on investment can be incredibly fast. So if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Outsourcing is not a shortcut to save a few bucks. It's a strategic decision to build a more sustainable, a more scalable, and a more resilient firm for the long haul. It's really about building capacity, fighting burnout, and ultimately improving the quality of the work you deliver. And that leaves us with one final question to think about. When you look at your own operations, your own team, and your goals for the future, you have to ask yourself, is your firm currently designed for sustainable growth, or is it on a path to burnout? The answer to that question could very well define your firm's next chapter.